Right on time to start our presentation. My name's Jen Carr. I'm one of the community members that live out here in Searchmont. A little background story, I've lived out here myself as a property owner for about 9 years. My parents came from this area as well, and the land that I live on, I'm fourth generation. I live right on the water, just downstream from the proposed water discharge spot. Tonight I have the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy here. This is Joni McGuffin. The intention of tonight is to provide everybody with a little bit of information and guidance to navigate the ERO. And we'll talk a little bit about what the ERO is, and unfortunately, as much as we would like to provide you with all that there is to chat about, it's just not humanly possible to cover that all in one setting and through one PowerPoint. So we're going to do our best to provide you with, like I said, a high-level summary. And what we're hoping for is that at the end of it, you'll feel a little bit more informed and a little bit more empowered to go and use your voice on the ERO. And then we will have some electronic documents that can be sent. So please do leave us with your email address if you're comfortable with that. It's the most accessible way for you to use the documents that we have so that you can copy it, paste it, and customize it to how it's best for you. So I hope I didn't miss anything, but I'm gonna hand it over to Joni. She's gonna take us through a little bit about the watershed of the Goulais River. So what we know is that the Goulais River is not just the body of water itself, it's the shed that makes up the Goulais River. And she'll take you through that piece and just sort of the ecological importance of the Goulais River and how it contributes to the overall watershed of Lake Superior.
Hi everybody, I'll try and be loud so you can hear me. Can you hear okay? I am not doing a detailed, science and story of the Goulais River, but it's just to give you a bit of a high-level view, actually, about why I'm even here. But I do want to start by acknowledging this beautiful river that flows by us right here in this community that has been flowing by here for thousands of years. And I want to acknowledge an Indigenous elder, Josephine Baumandaman, who is gone now. There's a picture of her on the table as a water walker who walked around the Great Lakes with, just a carrying of the water in a sacred way to remind people that water is sacred, water is life, and we all have a responsibility to care for water. And the water that is sitting beside her was taken from the Goulais River to help us gather the work that is going on. So all these gatherings in the aid of the Goulais River is here listening to us. And I will refer to Goulais River without the word the, because it really separates us from Goulais River being, I say she's a member of our community and a very important member, but she's always on the move. I want to thank you so much for turning up to this in the short notice, for being interested in participating in this, and we've got some maps out here. I was going to just show this quick little video, and when I do, you'll see that it does have sound to go with it, but because it's connected to the Bluetooth, I'm gonna mess up with the computer projector now, so I won't do that. But the reminder of, oh, come on now, don't be doing this to me. Okay, there we go. So it makes this beautiful sound that you all have heard, and I wanted it to fill the room with the sound of flowing water. It is a sound that we hear every day. When we step into the shower, when we turn our taps on, we wash ourselves, we bathe, we cook, we drink the water, and this beautiful water flows through our bodies to the extent that we're 60 to 70% water. That's nothing you don't already know. But when a story of water has implications connected to a future project that can affect the health of the water and will affect all downstream beings, all humans and others, So I'm just going to take you through a quick little presentation here. I want to start by thanking Freshwater Future, which is an amazing Great Lakes organization that funds all kinds of incredible work all over the Great Lakes in Canada and the US, and under some pretty difficult circumstances right now. They provided us with some grant funding for holding the Goulais gatherings and with funding potential for future water quality monitoring and grant funding to be able for us to hire a wastewater treatment expert at R.J. Burnside and Associates, who has provided us with a high-level analysis and review. And that material is in part forming the basis of the ERO response materials that we are going to give you. So I've already said this, but Goulais River flowing through this valley has been doing so for thousands of years. And traveling on the journey from here down to Goulais Bay, Chihuahua, and all the way out to the further Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean and beyond. So humans, fish, birds, insects, all life along the river is affected by the health of the water. Some here live here year-round, and some migrate in. Some migrate in from the lake in certain times, like the sturgeon. So there's always this water on the move. This big map is on a stand over there that you can have a more detailed look at. We are here, of course, at Searchmont. Whoops, sorry about that. I clicked on that a little too quickly there. And it does give you an amazing perspective of what a watershed. The lines that hold the water together for a river are the height of land between that and the next one. Every single river and creek has its own watershed, but the Goulais River watershed lies within a bigger story. So it is not only a line on a map, but it is also part of a family of watersheds. And that is really significant to be able to think of Goulais River in that way. That Goulais River is part of a family of watersheds that feed Lake Superior and then ultimately all the lower Great Lakes. So the health of a river like this is really hugely significant, and Goulais Bay itself is a very important ecosystem that is affected by the health of the Goulais River waters. So as you can see, I love maps, and I always show the students I do presentations to the perspective from outer space because it's, I think it's a super cool thing. We live at the bow tie of the Great Lakes. Sorry, I don't know what it's doing. So who is the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy? Just that watershed line, that green line, that's a real line. The line going through the middle of the lake is a line that we've created. Our geopolitical lines are not what nature recognizes. So Josie made this beautiful piece of art, and Lake Superior is a water care organization with a focus on the Lake Superior watershed. And we do this through conservation, education, and active participation. To fulfill our watershed mission and vision, we're also an incorporated charity registered in both Canada and the US because Lake Superior's watershed doesn't recognize those international boundaries we've created. And we're part of the Lake Superior, or I should say we're part of the Great Lakes watershed, or Great Lakes Land Trust community in the watershed of Lake Superior. There are land trusts all over the place that do this kind of work of conservation preservation by acquiring lands for conservation. And this is one of our preserves on Chihuahua out on Goulais Bay, where we have some infrastructure, do education, and it's available to the public to access, as are the islands off what is familiar as Lake Superior Provincial Park. Sorry, my thing. The archipelago of islands out there are one of the Conservancy's preserve, otherwise known as Nanabajung to Batchewana First Nation. So we all have a responsibility for keeping waterways and waters. Oh, sorry. This is not working. I will just press the button. Sorry about that. It's being fickle. Yes. Yeah.
So do you advise the MOE? Is that?
Yeah, so we do not advise the MOE. We will be nothing different than a citizen or as an organization to put in our comments to the ERO. But because we have received funding from, because we're a charity, we could receive the funding to get an expert opinion from a wastewater third-party expert assessment. That's super valuable because it doesn't matter how much is gleaned from the information. An expert opinion always makes that so much more valuable. Yeah, we were given a significant grant to be able to get that. It's not a huge grant, but it is significant that like ordinary citizens might not want to do. But we are able to provide the community and people with an expert opinion and a third-party view. So I just said, Searchmont as a citizen, I like to comment on what a corporation is. Corporations have a standing in court, which is greater than that of the river itself. Corporations, our land trust is a corporation, but we have a social business model to care for water and the land, etc., whereas a corporation's model is often built on return to shareholders. So I think it's very important to understand where people's responsibilities lie and where why they're doing what they're doing. These days, it's very good for businesses to have a social business model piece that gives back to communities. I think that's just good for the community or good for the relationship, but it's also good for public relations. So that is just a little bit about, conservation education in communities. There is a responsibility to do it for future generations. So Searchmont Resort, thinking about it now in the way it is now, it's important to think about what the future plans are so that the future plans are in your mind as you think about the growth and its impact on the consumption of Goulais River, the capacity of Goulais River, the water conservation measures that can be taken by a corporation, and their wastewater processes that can be done in the best way possible. So outcome affects the long-term health of Goulais River, all its inhabitants forevermore. So just one more slide and then I just pulled these from Googling ski resorts and conservation measures that ski resorts are doing. So these were just some of them. Consumption plus conservation equals less waste. There's all kinds of financials. I pull these out of all different ski resort publications. Water conservation in ski resorts, what's being done, whole articles. Many resorts are making significant changes to their practices to help them support water management because in places like the Rocky Mountains, the waters are becoming so much less. We think about the drier river here in the summer, for instance, and that is a real implication. Community-based aquatic monitoring can be partnerships that can be set up, and there are lots of strategic ways that businesses can harvest rainwater, use gray water systems, recycle wastewater, and even there is people turning wastewater into snow. I am no expert on this, and there could be a lot of this being looked at, but it's not in the public sphere for people to learn about. So, is there anything else you wanted me to say?
No.
I'm going to put Jen's, just one possibility for community engagement and corporate partnership in caring for Goulais River is developing. The long-term study is really key to getting it going before things change on the river, because then things can be measured. And the work that Nordic does is really, really cutting edge and wonderful in the Great Lakes. They're really highly esteemed in the work that they're doing. So we're super happy to have that possibility.
I think we have a question, Joni.
Yeah.
My name is Josie Springfield. I live on the river down here. A year ago, in 2024, we had a big problem with the river. There was phosphates like pancakes coming down the river. This was in August. I phoned the water quality. I had 2 people come out, and they never took a sample, they never did anything. They just said that it's phosphates and they'll disappear, but they never did.